Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Hundreds of government workers in Barbados to lose their jobs. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline from Monday, October 15th from the CMC News Center in Bridgetown. I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley says hundreds of government workers will be laid off in the coming weeks as government embarks on its International Monetary Fund-backed restructuring process. But she promised that her government will offer a helping hand to the affected workers. Mottley made the announcement and the promise on Sunday evening in an address to the nation, as she also dismissed rumors that thousands of workers would be sent home.
What I've tried to do is to have the government use the approach of a scalpel and not that of an axe that wildly cuts. I can give the country the assurance that while we do not have an exact number, because we are following process rather than arithmetical deductions, we know that it is unlikely to be more than 1,500 people over the course of the next few weeks. But
Prime Minister Mottley said the layoff process would be underpinned by the last in, first out principle, and workers will receive full severance packages. We
have agreed, and I thank the unions for putting on the table the measurements that are necessary in order for us to be able to deal with these packages. One, that there will be severance type packages available to persons, particularly the temporary persons, and more than 80% of the persons who are affected are temporary. Two, that those severance type packages will also be buttressed by payment in lieu of notice. Three, that without prejudice to that in some instances that there is vacation pay due to officers on an individual level. And above all else, four, I have insisted, and my cabinet has agreed with me, that the day on which persons receive notice, unlike what has happened before, they must walk home with a check.
Mottley added that her government would be establishing a household mitigation unit to assist retrenched workers to ensure no one falls below a minimum standard of living. The Barbadian leader further disclosed that the affected workers would be given priority when the government rolls out a project to digitize its vast records in January. Additionally, the Prime Minister said government is set to amend legislation to establish an affirmative action program to allow for up to 20% of the value of government's goods and services to go to affected workers.
Right now, we spend about $400 million a year procuring goods and services. 20% of that is $80 million a year. That is more than 4 times the cost of the separation package that we will face in the next few weeks for central government, and indeed is an amount that can be shared with both existing providers of services, or if there are groups of people who have been laid off who can, for example, come together and want to be able to provide government with services or goods that we are now currently sending to others overseas or to entities so large that the adjustment in business will not hurt them, then we are prepared to listen. A committee will be set up, not of politicians, but of those in the social partnership, along with members of the public service, to determine who benefits in that affirmative action program.
Meantime, Prime Minister Mottley disclosed that 99% of the island's creditors have agreed to back the government's debt restructuring exercise. That plan proposes a haircut to interest rates and longer terms to maturity.
I'm happy to report that with respect to that debt exchange, which involved 115% of our national income, or the equivalent of $11.9 billion of domestic debt and arrears, that we've had the extraordinary performance of 99% of those who tendered voting yes for the domestic debt exchange. And I'm told that that 99% of those who tendered represents more than 90% of those eligible to vote. This is an extraordinary position, particularly since we know that everyone who voted yes for this domestic debt exchange effectively voted to cut some of the income that they would otherwise have been entitled to.
The Prime Minister said negotiations will also continue with external creditors this week. In other news, Grenada's main opposition National Democratic Congress, the NDC, is calling for a postponement of the November 6 referendum on whether the island should replace the London-based Privy Council as the island's final court. Grenadians are set to vote next month in the referendum, 2 years after voting against replacing the Privy Council with the Trinidad-based Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ. NDC acting political leader Joseph Andal told a news conference on Monday that there is a need for electoral reform before taking on a referendum.
Strengthening our electoral system is essential before another vote is held, especially a vote to change our constitution, if we are to win the confidence of the broadest cross-section of our people. The need for electoral reform before another vote was emphasized by the CARICOM and OAS observer missions that monitored our 2013 and 2018 general elections. Both missions highlighted flaws in the system, and they recommended how those flaws may be addressed. The NDC took the view that since the upcoming referendum on the CCJ will be a vote under the same flawed electoral system, it should seek cooperation with government to address these matters on a bipartisan basis.
Andal is also calling on the Keith Mitchell administration to deal with the discrepancies in the current CCJ bill. He says his party, which failed to win a single seat in the last 2 general elections, would not continue to support the referendum if the government does not suspend the current campaign.
In addition to the issues of electoral reform, the NDC agrees with the position of the Trades Union Council that the CCJ bill is deficient in that it does not allow for the CCJ to be the final court of appeal in cases related to the outcome of general elections. There is no good and justifiable reason why the bill does not allow for this. The NDC agrees with the TUC that the bill should be amended to include this provision. Several legal minds have pointed out specific errors and flaws in the bill that should be rectified before the people of Grenada are asked to vote on it. The NDC therefore calls on government to postpone the referendum date so that all of the above matters can be addressed and the people of Grenada can move forward united as we make the CCJ our final appellate court under a strengthened electoral system.
And thanks to Miriam Ops for that recording. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, an early morning prison break in Guyana. The details when we return.
Dominica's World Creole Music Festival in 2018, October 26, 27, 28 at the Windsor Park Stadium in the capital city, Roseau. 3 nights, over 8 genres, 40 years of independence, 1 location, Dominica, the 20th edition of Dominica's World Creole Music Festival. For more information, like our Facebook page, Dominica Festivals. Visit our website, www.dominicafestivals.com for all travel, accommodation, and ticketing details. My love, my home, my Dominica, building a resilient nation. See you there! Proudly sponsored by the Government of Dominica and Discover Dominica Authority.
It's one of the most anticipated events of the year. November 4, get ready for Latin Festival at Free Lawn starting at 3 p.m. Featuring out of Puerto Rico, Sun Divas. Out of Sweet Sugar Sonic St. Kitts, DJ Elvis. From Jamaica, Romain Virgo. And out of Dominican Republic, El Alpha El Jefe. Get your tickets now at Cajola Cristata Limited, online at latinfestival.net. Avalon Lab in the Sands Complex for only $35 EC until October 28 and $55 after. At Uncle Fats, you can get your VIP tickets for only $320 EC until October 15 and $350 after. Limited amount available. Save the date, November 4. Get ready for Latin Fiesta. Sponsored by Cajola Cristata, Hobson Enterprise, St. Kitts Marriott Resort, Caribbean Cinemas, Stag, and Mojitos La Casa de Albano.
Preview. Preview. Preview.
Their history have won the Women's ICC World T20 title.
We continue in Guyana, where a manhunt is underway for 3 escaped prisoners who got away from the Lusingland jail early Monday morning. Acting Prison Director Gladwin Samuels says the escape took place around 4:30 a.m. One of the prisoners has been identified as murder-accused Travis Evans. The other 2 are Sudesh Dayal and Destroy Pollard. The 3 reportedly escaped by scaling the prison's wall. Samuel said an operation is underway to locate and apprehend the escapees. Over in Trinidad and Tobago, hundreds turned out for the National Cannabis Rally at Woodford Square on Sunday, calling for marijuana to be legalized. The creation of jobs, the saving of lives, and a reduction in murders were some of the benefits advocates insisted are in store if authorities go that route. The details in this TV6 report.
Upon entering Woodford Square on Sunday, there was an unmistakable odor in the air. And the message was loud and clear.
We are rallying for the legalization of marijuana.
The National Cannabis Rally featured a number of speakers advocating for the decriminalization of marijuana. Criminologist Darius Figuera took the podium with a suggestion he feels would address the crime problem in TNT.
If you want to lower the rate by which people are willing to wipe out a family to get a half-pound of compress, legalize it, let people grow it and smoke it.
One politician present to hear the message was the MSJ's leader, David Abdullah, who was originally part of the rally's organizing committee. The MSJ sees the issue as a priority area for legal reform.
We also have to make sure that we don't see a set of new coffee shops selling marijuana where you could go and smoke, owned by a few, the elites, and then you have ordinary people who have used it for generations becoming consumers and marginalized.
Among the booths on display was that of Cannabis and You, an NGO which aims to raise awareness of the cannabis plant and seek law reform.
We just want the government or whoever's in charge to help put things in place so that it can have enough of access to the plant for everyone as a medicine, and not only as a medicine, but also to create a cannabis industry locally.
Meantime, speaking at the rally, chairperson of the CARICOM Regional Commission on Marijuana, Professor Rosemary Bell Antoine, said there's much support across the region for the decriminalization of marijuana. She said 61% of those polled in Grenada, 62% in Antigua, and more than 60% in Barbados say the law should be changed. This week in Newsline Health, we hear that concern about obesity in the Caribbean is coming from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO. In fact, the FAO's Assistant Director General is describing it as an epidemic.
You have a very, very serious problem which is growing in size every day.
That grim assessment of obesity in the Caribbean comes from Assistant Director General of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, and Regional Representative for Latin America and the Caribbean, Julio Berdigue, who was in Barbados last week for the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. He says it's an uncontrolled epidemic causing tremendous damage to the health of people and the economies across the region.
These diseases that are derived from obesity lead to lower productivity. It's ravaging children. In Barbados, for example, the rate of obesity among children below the age of 5 is twice the average for the whole of Latin America and the Caribbean.
But what's to blame for this obesity problem? Berdigue tells Newsline Health we're eating too much of the wrong things with more money and access to a wider variety of foodstuff, much of it unhealthy.
Too much fat, too much sugar, too many calories, too much salt. So we're using our money to kill ourselves, literally.
Berdigue admits that junk food is more convenient and more affordable, while foods that are good for us are often more costly. He believes the more we grow and produce what we eat, the more control we have over the quality of our food. So one of the solutions is to focus more on agriculture, but not in the same way as in the past. Berdigue says climate change must change the way we look at and undertake agriculture. The technology is there to do it, he says, but the political will needs to be as well.
We have options. We're not blind and with our hands tied. We can do things, but we need government decisions to say, okay, it's time to stop doing the same things that our great-grandparents were doing, and we need to practice agriculture in a way which is much more climate resistant.
But that won't be the only approach needed. Berdigue says the problem is multifaceted and the solution has to be as well, and it will require everyone to be involved.
This is going to require an integrated strategy that addresses issues of trade, addresses issues of investment, addresses issues of innovation, addresses issues of climate change, addresses issues of educating the children in the school about proper meals and proper diets. It's going to take a lot of time to get back on the right road. It's not a one single simple solution. Who leads these? Governments need to lead these. But is it only the job of governments? Of course not. The private sector has a major, major responsibility. Right now, many of these firms are part of the problem. They need to become part of the solution. Consumers have a major responsibility. We need to be much more selective in what we eat and how we eat. It's a responsibility of everybody, but government needs to take the lead. As citizens, we need to request and demand from our governments that the policies are put in place that allow us citizens to have access to healthy food in every store, in every neighborhood, in every town, in every village.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies suffer a whitewash in the Test series against India.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. Essential items to be kept. Keep blankets in dry place or waterproof container.
Your luggage is overweight. Your luggage is overweight. How much I must pay?
No, you can't do it like that. You'll have to take some of the things out of the suitcases and put in a box or something.
You know, you're a wicked woman. A wicked fat woman.
Do you want a boxer?
Box me, no? You think so you're helping me strike me? Try a box.
Barbados, it's time to laugh again. Get yourselves ready for the Caribbean's funniest men and women. Fast Promotions Annual Caribbean Comedy Explosion. Saturday, October 27th, Sir Garfield Sobers Gymnasium, 8 p.m. Get your early bird tickets now and pay $60 before all are sold out at ticketlinks.com. All Ticket Links outlets nationwide. Jeans Inc. Sheraton, CS Pharmacy, Rubis Wildy, and Eddie Supermarket Spicetown.
I come in here as a loner. I know you spot me from far.
This month on Caribbean Passport, dive into the creative world, fashion, music, festivals, and cuisine. So get your passports ready and let's travel. All coming up on this channel.
Continuing with sports now, West Indies were bundled out for their lowest ever total on Indian soil as they slumped to a 10-wicket defeat inside 3 days on Sunday to suffer a 2-0 whitewash and extend their agonizing 16-year wait for a test victory against the hosts. The Caribbean side dared to dream when they bowled India out for 367 to limit the first innings deficit to just 56 runs. But the batsmen then crumbled for 127 in their second innings, their lowest score in India in 31 years. They were undone by man-of-the-match speedster Umesh Yadav, who bowled superbly to claim 4 for 45 and end with career-best match figures of 10 for 133.
Oh, well bowled. Oh! What a shot!
Craig Brathwaite goes without troubling the scorers. It's none for one.
Good shot. And as it carried, seems like it. The umpires will have a look. He's right to stand there. And the soft signal is important. So the third umpire. And then there was turn off the pitch. So you've got to play two different lines. One is in the air and the ball's curving in. Decision there. The finger's gone up. The Windies now 6 for 2. Good shot that. Very good shot. Another terrific shot that.
Nice shot. Very good use of the feet.
An indication of that positive footwork. We've seen that before somewhere in Rajkot.
17 to him, 45 for 3.
All gone. Ball slower through the air. Generally find Jadeja bowling 95 kilometers.
Shea Hope gone for 28, 45 for 4.
Oh, brilliant. Magic delivery.
Chase goes for 6, 68 for 5.
Oh, gone. Maybe there was some back contact.
Shane Dorridge.
Beautifully struck.
Oh, that's the outside edge. Is that the outside edge? Big appeal. Wants a review.
There's definitely an edge there. They're ruled out.
The Windies captain, he's got to make his way back. 19 to him, 108 for 7.
It's been given. He's gone for the review. Has to.
And that's the 8th wicket gone. 109 for 8.
Struck it well enough. That's a good sound for Ramichandran Ashwin.
It's 126 for 9.
10 wickets in the match for Umesh Yadav. What timing by Virat Kohli. What skill by...
Meanwhile, Captain Jason Holder says the Windies batsmen need to apply themselves in the middle.
Early on in the day, but to fight back the way we did, and put ourselves in a really good position, and then coming back yesterday, and then trying to push forward a little bit more was commendable. Just credit to the way India play cricket. They were obviously better than us, and they did basics longer than us. Obviously, it's just a lot of room for improvement. I think that's the thing that we need to do. We need to apply ourselves a little bit more. Give ourselves a better chance, of succeeding. The best players in the world, they take time, to get themselves in, and they go big and go deep. And that's just something that we just need to exemplify in it whenever we play.
Well, amidst the gloom of the whitewash, there was a ray of sunshine for the West Indies captain, whose outstanding efforts in the second test saw him leap into the top 10 of the ICC Test bowling rankings on Monday. The 26-year-old seamer now lies at a career-best 9th, up 4 places, following his superb haul of 5 for 56, which limited India to 367 all-out in their first innings on Sunday. The 5-wicket haul was the 5th of Holder's career and 3rd in 4 innings, and the first by a West Indies bowler on Indian soil in 24 years. He also became only the 3rd Windies bowler to take 5-wicket hauls in 3 successive innings. The performance extended a purple patch of form for the giant Barbadian that has seen him capture 33 wickets at an outstanding average of 11.87 runs this year. There was also good news for Roston Chase, whose 106 in the first innings helped him jump 10 spots to 31st in the batting rankings. Shea Hope, who scored 36 and 28, rose 5 places to 35th. Opener Craig Brathwaite, meanwhile, dropped 4 places to 19th following a wretched series that yielded 26 runs from 4 innings. But he's still the highest-ranked West Indies batsman. Still in cricket, Jonathan Carter hit an unbeaten half-century as Barbados Pride edged the Leeward Islands Hurricanes by 3 wickets with just 2 balls remaining in their Group B clash in the Regional Super 50 at Kensington Oval on Sunday. Batting first, the Hurricanes managed to get up to 226 for 9 in their 50 overs, thanks mainly to Akeem Saunders' unbeaten knock of 63. But through Carter's efforts, Pride were able to scramble home, posting 227 for 9 off 49.4 overs. Carter scored 79 not out to lead the Pride to their 2nd win in 3 days and put them in 3rd position in the group behind the Jamaica Scorpions and the combined campuses and colleges Marooners. And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
their history have won the Women's ICC World T20 title.
That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport round the clock, log on to CanadaNews.com, and for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and subscribe to CaribVision's YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and good night.